the White House posted a Studio Ghibli meme of a morbidly obese criminal illegal immigrant being arrested by, I assume, Tom Homan. This is from the United States White House, Carl. This is what our White House is doing.
I've seen.
Awesome.
Studio Ghibli.
So, okay, so this is a couple of stories. You've got this fentanyl dealer arrested. The White House announced this a week ago.
Yeah.
And then the Studio Ghibli memes go viral where people are loading photos into ChatGPT and saying to recreate it in the style of Studio Ghibli. So the White House made an image of a crying, morbidly obese fentanyl drug dealer, criminal legal alien being arrested. And this is, I'm for it.
And of course, the leftists have taken the side that this is morally reprehensible, and that, of course, the fentanyl dealing, multiple time arrested illegal criminal.
Yo, look at the serfs
here.
Society turned her into the
Carl, look at what the serfs responded with. Can you want to read that? Can you read it?
Yes, that's a very interesting thing for him to say as an avowed atheist, I'm sure.
He says, "None of you will see the kingdom of heaven."
Yeah.
I really love the meme where it's like, I forgot exactly what the quote is, but I reject your backwards views. Your religion is offensive to me, but I'll appeal to it because maybe then you'll do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
No, dude.
Kids watch Studio Ghibli. This is just hilarious.
I mean, they're great movies.
They are.
You know, you got Howl's Moving Castle, right?
I've never seen a single one.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think I tweeted at you,
your
Howl's
kids
Moving
would love
Castle.
them.
Yeah,
and Spirited
I
Away.
will watch them there because I've had so many people like, oh, you should watch this, so I will.
I mean, they're kind of just silly fairy tales. There's no right, exactly. That's why I think they're great.
Yeah.
But they're not built around the same catty conflict that most American shit is built around. It's actually it's got more depth than that.
Yeah, like Howl's Moving Castle is the sorcerer has a castle that walks, and then a witch curses a young lady to be old, and you're like, well, that happened. It's fun.
Ponyo, My Cousin
yeah.
Totoro. There's some really
My neighbor Totoro.
My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah.
Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away. Oh, there's so many good ones.
There's really good.
We love them.
So can I be the fun police?
Fun Police. No, what's going on?
I don't think this is wise.
Why not?
Right. Okay. So a couple of things. So first things first. I've never seen a Studio Ghibli film, but everyone loves them, and it seems to be that they have a kind of nostalgia about them. There's something kind of dreamy and nice about them. And
Have you seen the memes? The Studio Ghibli memes?
yeah, I've seen them.
Everybody loves Studio Ghibli, and everybody is posting these memes.
I know.
And there's like some of the most vile imagery imaginable, Ghiblified.
I know.
9/11 Ghiblified.
I know.
You're saying it's poor taste.
No, it's not that it's poor taste. It's that this is tapping into the sentimental, nostalgic side of a person's brain, and what this does is actually frame the fentanyl dealer as what appears to be a sympathetic victim. If you didn't know anything about the backstory, you'd be
I see
like,
what you're saying.
Why is this mean man arresting this poor obese woman of color? She's crying, and I guess she's getting deported.
There should be cartoon fentanyl.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you don't know anything about it, it looks quite mean, right? If you're from the outside. There's a second thing as well, which is there's political capital is never static, right? You're either gaining it or losing it. And when you take responsible actions that people who don't like you can't help but show respect to, you're gaining it, right? When you are doing something that you know the other side hates, but you think it needs to be done anyway, you're losing it. You burn it up. This is something the other side hates, but it doesn't really do anything. So it's an expense in political capital that isn't really very wise, because what this does to people who are not heavily on the internet like us is make them think, why is there a childish Zoomer in charge of the White House official communications? This doesn't make me think well of the Trump administration generally, and therefore you lose a lot more political capital than you might think.
Maybe. I think also one thing to consider is this is a hyper online thing. I mean, if you're not online, you're not seeing this post.
Sure, but they'll write a bunch of news articles about this. They were like, the White House official communications are now mocking poor obese fentanyl dealers, and look at the crying face.
Well, they would say asylum seeker. You know, what I mean?
Whatever it is, right?
But I wonder with this, it's how much goodwill have they lost because they've lied so much, and additionally, does the White House use the strategy of get them to complain to annoy the base or their base?
Possibly, but the problem I think that the Trump administration is showing at the moment, and this is a genuine form of weakness that I think could be avoided. And I say this as someone who's been a Trump partisan since 2016, right? So I'm not, I don't think anyone would ever accuse me of not supporting Trump hard enough. But I went a couple of years ago. I went to a conference in Miami, and Curtis Yarvin, of all people, was speaking there. He's like, "Look, the Republicans need a plan to literally own the libs, because if you come back and you win a superb victory, they're going to be under your dominion, right? You're going to be the ones making decisions for them, and you can either make good decisions that actually make everyone's lives better and leave them in a position where they have to admit that you have done good things." Or you can wind them up for 4 years and hang on and end up burning up a bunch of political capital that you'll carry as baggage afterwards. And it seems actually the Trump administration is kind of going in the wrong direction there. It would actually be more sensible if they had a proper plan to own the libs.
What if this is the muzzle velocity that Steve Bannon was talking about?
Sorry, go on. Tell me what you were saying there.
Well, just the muzzle velocity of like thing after thing after thing,
Yeah.
so the other side doesn't know what to even address.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not really about the other side, because the other side, no matter what happens, they're going to be entrenched activists against everything you do for every reason. The issue is essentially not to give them an easy win. Right? This stuff is giving them an easy win. Even if everyone hates them, and everyone does hate the Democrats, they don't hate the Democrats so much that they don't care what the sitting administration does, and that doesn't reflect on them. And it's not that no one of these things is going to be a dramatic drop, but it's about the slow, gradual whittling away of the political capital that the Trump administration had really built up. And you are right about the sort of flood the zone thing. That is good in a situation where you need to keep your opponent off their feet. But there is still a collective effect, which is, why are they being sort of childish and chaotic? Why aren't they being authoritative and responsible?
Maybe
Right?
this will result in them writing a bunch of stories and defending a fentanyl dealer, which they can then respond with, you are defending a criminal, illegal alien fentanyl dealer.
Yeah, but the problem is, it's not really about the individual, the actual battlefield, right, of what the person did. The problem is, it's about the character of the people engaged in the fight. And what the Trump administration should be doing at the moment is demonstrating higher character than the Democrats, which is not hard to do. And the thing is, I believe that the Trump administration has higher character than the Democrats, because I know several of them myself. I'm friends with a bunch of them, and I'm friends with a bunch of the people around them. And I like everyone in this sphere. But the problem is, I think that a lot of you guys have been in the trenches for a long time, right? And when you've been in the trenches, you've been under constant fire from the Democrats. It's nice to have these wins. Now you've got the levers of power. But the thing is, a lot of the country is not an entrenched MAGA Republican, right? And yet they still lent their votes to Trump, because they're like, no, Trump is the guy to fix problems. And he is. He is fixing loads of problems. Like, I'm so jealous of Doge. I'm so jealous of what he's doing on the border. I'm so jealous of what he's doing just cutting down the state in general and just making America a more potent force in the world. This kind of thing detracts from that. And it becomes a kind of stain on what is otherwise a cavalcade of glory. And there's no reason not to actually really sort of step into the role of, no, we are the saviors of the West here. We don't need to be prattling around. We're not even just going to crush our opponents. That's already happened. We're going to show them how a good future is going to be, and it doesn't need that. It doesn't need that sort of thing.
I see what you're saying. I largely agree, but
it's not funny either. It is funny, but it's like there is a bigger concern.
I do think that while I agree and I understand what you're saying, I do think it's really minimal. The bigger thing that Trump has done, the biggest things he's done, one, gutting USAID, which is how a lot of these lawyers and legal firms were having money run through NGOs, but requiring citizenship for voting. We might not have to worry so much for two big reasons. Even Ezra Klein has come out and said the 2030 census is going to shift so many congressional seats away from Democrats in blue states towards red, that the fascinating thing about elections is that if one person switches their vote from, say, Ben to Carl, it doesn't create a 1 point swing, it creates a 2 point swing. So when California loses 3 and New York gains 3, you're not got a 6 point difference. That is much more difficult for them to overcome in terms of earning more votes in their states or in other states.
Yeah.
That's coming no matter what. And the 2020 census was done wrong. Everybody's been talking about it, saying there's going to be a correction. Ezra Klein made a video where he basically said, even if Kamala Harris ended up winning like North Carolina and Pennsylvania, she still would lose with the new electoral map. So while I respect what you're saying,
well, hang on. So this I agree that is all true, but there's a kind of calcification in the mindset of American political commentary when it comes to this kind of flipping on the map, because what Trump showed is that people actually change their mind, right? Lots of people actually do change their mind and swing from one way to another. They actually decide, no, I'm going over. So, like, just changing the demographics, as the Democrats discovered, isn't enough, actually. Because a lot of those people can be persuaded over to the Donald Trump side to make America great, right? So it's not that you're wrong. Obviously, you're completely correct about that. But it's just like extra layers of things that could go wrong for the Republicans.
Do you think that the argument changed the people's minds, or do you think that the actual conditions on the ground is what changed people's mind? Because it's my sense that they didn't like what they saw from the Biden administration less than conservatives made arguments that they were convinced by.
I think it's both things. I mean, the argument that you make, it not only attracts the people who already agree with that, obviously, and anyone who is potentially going to be persuaded by it on its own merits in the abstract, but it also stakes out your position, right? So you say, no, look, we are the party of law and order, we're the party of borders, we're the party of doing things right, they're the party of evil, and they come out and go, yes, we're the party of evil, this is our evil constituency, and so if things are bad under the party of evil, then they can always go over to the Republicans and the MAGA base,
yes.
right? And so you've always got that kind of castle there that people can run to as refugees politically. So it's not that the individual argument makes the difference. It's just that you set yourself up as an alternative that they can choose, and did in large numbers. I mean, Trump winning the popular vote, like, the Democrats are hanging their head in shame. You can tell, because they were so proud that Trump lost the popular vote the first time around. It's like, no, you got nothing now.
Yeah.
But the point being that the MAGA people running the White House thing, what they should be posting, if they want to post like mimetic stuff on the internet, is almost kind of, not superhero, but you know what I mean, like something noble. Is what they should be posting, I think, rather than memes. I mean, memes, let your base post the memes. They should, like, in the group chat where they have the America with the shield and the sword.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So how about, so it would have been acceptable or in your estimation, would it have been fine if J.D. Vance posted that from his account, or would it be?
He's the vice president. The things about Vance is that he's a really credible guy. Right, he's a really good talker.
He is, yeah.
He looks responsible. He's a dad. He's got the right aura about him that he can sit down. He could sit down in a room full of, like, he could go on The View and mollify their fears. Right, he shouldn't be memeing either. It's not that I don't like memes or anything like that. What it is about, what's the outside perception of that.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Sorry.
So
I'm just thinking of the administrative tactics outside of all this.
Sorry, go on.
The administrative things that Trump has done may result in Democrats never winning again.
Possibly.
Or at least in this not this iteration. And then you take on Gallup's polling. You get NBC, you get CNN showing Democrats at record low disapproval ratings, 29%, 27%. Another poll coming out showing it's at 26%. Gallup showing that 51% of the Democratic Party either want it to stay the same or move further left. And so while the argument from Gallup is a plurality wants moderation, that doesn't get to the big picture of the Democratic Party. 45%, according to Gallup, say be more moderate. 22% say stay the same. 29% say move to the left.
Go left.
But here's the thing: they're currently insane. Yeah. So if we're talking about how the Democrats win, moderating is how they win.
Yeah.
But if 22% are like, let's keep being as crazy as we are, and 29% says let's be crazier than that, that's the direction they're going to go.
Yeah.
And then they're not going to be able to win. And then, depending on what happens in the next year with Trump gutting their resources and these executive orders, their schemes may end as well. So we may actually see, this will be interesting. Rosie O'Donnell says that Elon Musk owns and controls the internet and that Trump is the first president to ever win every swing state. Okay. Well, maybe Elon does, but Elon says he thinks we can get to 60 senators.
I would love to see it.
I would love to see it.
But the thing is, remember that the Democrats were like, oh, look at the demographics of Texas. Look at the demographics of wherever. We're going to bust a load of illegals in there. You're never going to win again. It's going to be Democrat rule forever at the end of the Republicans. So, and that didn't happen, right? So I'm not saying that you're wrong. Obviously, all of the things you're saying are accurate. But it's all predicated on people just not having a change of heart.
Right. Not necessarily. Donald Trump revoked, do you see the story? 530,000 legal immigration statuses from migrants. So it was a ploy. Biden said, if you can get a sponsor, you can come. And 530,000 people came in. Trump said, you're out. Trump's not only kicking out the illegal immigrants, the criminals, the gangs, he's kicking out people who were given temporary protected status. He's getting rid of people who came here legally under a Biden policy. And he's revoking student visas for people who are anti-Israel. So he's booting a lot of people.
Yeah, I know.
This is gonna. So maybe he doesn't make it through 26. Who knows? This is going to be a long battle for the next 5 years, which will impact 2030 midterms. So 2032 will be the true test. But based on what we're seeing, I've got no reason to believe that Democrats can muster up anything to counter Trump. That being said, I understand your point on don't be a child. We are watching Donald Trump's march to the sea on the deep state. Don't deviate with silly, childish things.
Don't mess around. Don't take risks because you don't know what will happen tomorrow.
Yep.
Tomorrow some Democrat whiz kid could come up and be like, "Oh, look, in 2028 I'll be 35 or whatever."
Harry
it is.
Sisson.
Yeah, not him. But and he might have superb rhetoric and actually a new form of argumentation that is just very persuasive to people. And suddenly you find yourself on the defensive when you're like, "Well, how did this happen?" These kind of reverses happen all the time in politics.
Trump is it.
Exactly. Yeah, Trump's a great example of it, right? So it's just don't be arrogant, don't be conceited. Do the job properly, but be confident. Be responsible, and you can win.
Did you? What did people say? They posted a video saying J.D. Vance was planting freedom seeds on the range with the Marines.
Oh, yeah.
You see the video?
No, I didn't see them.
This is the best vice president I've ever had. We've ever had in my life. Yeah. J.D. Vance was at the range. He was shooting at the range with Marines. And they said he got a headshot. I don't know how many yards it was, but to see the vice president actually working with the troops, knowing what he's doing. I'm a huge fan of military leadership in the executive branch. Donald Trump doesn't get a special pass from me in this regard. The dude is our first president with no political military experience or anything like that. Just business. But it's okay. It's okay. We take what we can get. But J.D. Vance is great. So, people have been getting really excited seeing things like this and speeches he's been given. Like maybe actually he will step up in 2028 and be the guy. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.